take away the good bits, take away some of the heel hooks for these females. They're just so good on the hills, and a lot of time in the route set, especially in the semi-final, blocking loads of sections of the hole just to try and increase the accuracy and take away some of the footholds.
Here's Aimori, 2 podiums for her already last week in Vila and in the bouldering in Wujiang back in May. So an excellent season already. She's underway on the women's route. Seen 2 good attempts. Ashima Shirashi looking particularly strong, and it has the current high point at 34 plus. You can see there 5:35 left. Climber's got 6 minutes to attempt the route.
A lot of the time in these modern routes we see route setters employing moves with high risk, basically jumps and tricky little sections, bigger moves, maybe 1-2 catches, things like that. And sometimes they substitute endurance for risk. And if you make changes to the route, you take away the level of risk because the athletes aren't quite as good as you thought, or you get a bit nervous about how hard the route, the move is with the risk. You end up with no risk and no endurance. And that is the problem that faces the route setters all the time. The balance between risk and endurance. With semi-finals, it was pretty much no risk, all endurance. If you made a mistake, you were punished, and you were very unlikely to fall off because of some strange move. This route seems to have a balance of both, but let's see if they've got the balance right between risk and endurance.
Yeah, as ever, spare a thought for the route setters. I was chatting to Flo Monig, our chief route setter here in Chamonix. I think the climbers were nervous, but surely there's nobody in the Chamonix Valley more nervous than Flo right now. All they can do is watch as their creation, their best guess, all those micro calculations get put to the test in front of all you guys watching at home and 12,000 climbing fans in the Place du Mont Blanc. It must be a very nerve-wracking. I think I get nervous before the live streams. Imagine the route setters. But the first impression's good, but as you say, Mike, the field is so unpredictable, and also interesting that the route setters didn't think the endurance level of the climbers was quite as high as they've been expecting coming into the season, possibly of a symptom of climbers doing a lot more bouldering than they used to.
This is interesting. That's the same left-hand sequence that Ashima used. So it just drops in. She will just drop into the middle triangle before toe hooking that one. You can see really well there with a lot of chalk on it. Should, in theory, get a left toe up. Oh, interesting. Goes for the toe on the closer volume. This is the really interesting showy section then. Let's see how Ai gets on with this one. Has she got the lock-off power? Doesn't look completely comfortable with just going footless. Trying to wiggle some sort of toe into the donut, and goes dynamically in the end. Looked like she was in a little bit of trouble, but really a calculated method. Interesting, she hasn't got that lower clip from where she was lower down. It's going to be really hard to get the clip from those 2 terrible pinches. Aimori could be in a bit of trouble here. Shows that strength on the right-hand side, though. Really nicely done. Great recovery.
Yeah, it did really well. I mean, bear in mind, that's the hole that Molly Thompson-Smith fell on, and Aimori's made a clip from it, so impressive strength. I agree, Mike. I thought she was in a spot of bother, to use a very English phrase.
Manages to get this manufactured rest off the toe hook and a big right foot down in that donut. Big cut loose using the left-hand side of that volume. There's not actually anything on that, just the feature itself.
And she gets the clip done a lot earlier. We saw Ashima carry on right up to that volcano. Aimori got it done already. Up to the volcano. That was the first move where she looked like she was really struggling. Thinking about a clever little half drop knee there. Now could she be about to reach and possibly surpass the high point of Ashima? She's really grimacing. I think the pump really kicking in, and that is not an easy way to make a clip, but she does well.
Yeah, brutal bent arm clip there. Really fighting. This is the next move then.
This is where we lost Ashima. Aimori lining it up, pops up with the left hand, and it's the same move that stopped Ashima. So as in the semi-final, getting onto the head wall has proved beyond everyone so far, but that was a superb effort from Aimori. And as we've seen with most of the climbers, it seems for this weekend, possibly as a symptom of endurance not being where it might be at this stage of the season, going from 0 pump to 100% very, very quickly.
Yeah, let's have another look. This is kind of quite showy little jump move out to this nice ring at the quite high up on the wall. Really big power scream there from Mori, and it's quite an interesting route actually. There's no one particular move that seems to be causing a lot of issues, unless it's this move that does cause those issues later on in the competition. But it just seems to be slowly starts building up a bit of a hard move, bit of a rest, bit of a hard move, bit of a rest, until you get right up into that